Welcome to T-Boys TV. We are back again with another Hatter show, another milestone show, you could say, episode 260. And in today's, we will be talking about the Cardiff defeat, unfortunately. And then we'll be getting into a player we were actually linked with. First link for, well, I don't even know, a week and a bit, maybe even longer. So it's good to see that we are actually linked with the player. A lot of people going, we probably won't get him because the amount of teams that are interested. But I'm good to see. I'm glad to see we're actually linked with someone. But before we get into all of that, how have you been, Dad? Obviously, weren't on the last episode. You're obviously fit and ready to go now.
Yeah, exactly. So, all good, man.
Good. But yeah, big up to everyone that was waiting inside. Obviously, like we say, we'll start off with the Cardiff game. Now, going into it, I did back the boys. You know, I did say a 2-1 win. As for you, Dad, obviously you did say a draw. I mean, the amount of chances we had, we should have realistically at least got that. You know, if you look at the recent games, we've been struggling for chances. This game, you know, had more than enough. I believe it was 22, 23 in the end. You know, if you compare that to recent games, been struggling to have good chances really. Six of them being on target as well. And looking at the lineup, when it come out, Makoto come back in. You know, we expected that. You know, you've got to have, I've said it, out of that back three, you've got to have someone who brings that pace element for me when you are to play this. And obviously he does bring that. And we did feel, you know, I think you might have said it when you was last on, Dad, you know, we sort of missed him in that Bradford game in particular. So there is that. Then obviously you have McGuinness and Naismith. My only worry going into this game, and I said it, two worries, was the wing backs. I didn't really like it. I mean, yes, I know Ali dropped deeper in the game before against Wigan, but I don't mind him going there during the game, but starting there, it's not ideal. And obviously Longwick on the other side, yes, he had a good game against Peterborough away there, but again, he's a centre back. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to work throughout the season. So I was a bit frustrated with that. Saville and Walsh, and obviously Clark. I mean, you know, at that time, we don't have any complaints, you know, really. I mean, there is few people, and we've said it obviously on previous lead ups to the games, we would put Baptiste in ahead of Walsh. But, you know, at the time, no one was really complaining about that midfield. It was more the wing backs. And then obviously up front, you had Nordas and Wells, which is what I said to go with for this game, because I thought Nordas personally was unlucky against Wigan. And Wells, you know, obviously there was a possibility, like I mentioned, that he was going to come back in. He eventually did. Obviously, there was talks about it before, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. And yeah, I felt Yates, you know, a few people would have kept Yates in their side starting, but the reason I didn't, and I said it at the time, is because he's still getting into the swing of things. You know, he needs to be bringing him on for me, because it's not quite working from the start. And going into this game, you know, yes, Nordas didn't score, but he did have some good opportunities and things like that. So, yeah, I couldn't really grumble at that starting 11 bar the wing backs. And then obviously the bench, we had Baptiste, Bramall, Holmes, Kudoa, Nelson, Shea and Yates. I mean, interesting talking points that have come out of this game from the bench, because there was no Lamine. Is he possibly on the way out? See, Bloomfield has said there's probably going to be one or two that are going to depart that have been, you know, basically involved in the first team. And Woodrow, I mean, a lot of people wouldn't be disheartened with that, let's be honest, but could he finally be on the way out? I mean, a couple of weeks ago, it looked like he was possibly going to be one that was going to sort of stick around, but he could be on his way out, possibly. But what did you make when you saw that lineup, Russ?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We've got to go with the 3-5-2. Like, I know people call he prefers to play four at the back generally, but we haven't really got enough bodies in there at the moment, or fit bodies. And I think we're being careful with, you know, because previously we've rushed players back. You know, Bell's was going abroad, coming back, playing, things like that, and I don't know, they were just getting injured. So we're being extra careful with like players' fitness, like Bramall, do you know what I mean, and Kadua and stuff like that. So I do understand it, but yeah, obviously we're lacking in the departments at the moment. But you know, we have signed 10 players. It is difficult to get players through the door sometimes. And we're still working at it. So that was probably the formation that we was going to go with anyway. Walsh, after his previous game, you probably would start him. McGuinness up again after the previous game. Anderson's injured anyway, so you're going to start him. So Nordas as well, so it makes sense. And we was a home, so we kind of tried to go a little bit more creative with Ali at the wing back as well, and obviously Walsh in midfield. So that is expected, really.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I know obviously Bramall's still not into swing things, but what I'd have done, I'd have started him and then bring him off for Ali personally. But yeah, I just, like I've said loads of times, I do feel we can't change this formation because even if you go to a back foot, we haven't got the fullbacks to be doing that. Yes, we might on one side with Walters next week say we would change it. I don't think we will, but say we were, you haven't on the left. So, because Bramall's obviously still not there. And even if, Bramall is to eventually come in, and I said it in my match reaction the other day, even if he is to come in, when he is proper raring to go and ready to go, even if he is the so-called Doughty replacement, you still need someone else. Because if he gets injured, then what? You're asking for trouble, and then you're going to be playing players there. Like for me, any good team has foundations of two good players in each position. And that is also why I say we need another right back, because Walters is developing. Messiah Jones is out long term. I don't think he's a right wing back anyway. Yes, he's played there a few times for Middlesbrough. No, not for me. I want to see him higher up. And then, you've got Kadoa there who can play there, but it's not. It's like when you put Longwick there, it's not going to work throughout the whole season. So you need to, for me, be getting someone in, and they are the two priorities. And then I feel like any sort of attacker, whether that's obviously we'll talk on the link in a bit, but whether that's someone who can play as a cam or anywhere out wide. Maybe we don't need a striker necessarily, but we need another attacking option. I would definitely say that. But yeah, big up to yourself, mate. Good to see you in here, mate. Hope you're all good. But yeah, going into the game itself. Now, actually, one thing before we do that, though. So obviously, Woodrow, like I say, was not on the bench. Not on the bench. Now, obviously, the Bradford game, he was on the bench for Wigan, but he wasn't on the bench for this. Is he finally on the way out? Do you reckon?
Well, this is the thing. No disrespect, but he ain't really done it at Luton. So it's one of the players that you hope potentially, because we need to get rid of a couple of players to sign more players. That's the problem, and you'd say that, if we're looking to sign another striker, then, we've looked to be that, like a younger striker, and that's what we're looking to do. Then, hopefully. But, it's obviously less subs on the bench. You can't tell all the time. Like Lamine, obviously, there was rumours about the Coventry interest. There'll be other players that they'll be looking at as well, trying to prize away that are even playing, luckily there's only a week left or something. So, it'll be done. We need to sign backup players definitely in the wing back position if that's what we're looking to do going forward. If we're not, then, an attacking player, definitely like a left back. We lost Johnson as well, so that doesn't help. We Doughty's gone, Johnson's injured, Bell went. Obviously Naismith, but he's more of a central, isn't he? I think he could play there, but every game, I don't know about that. So yeah.
Yeah, again, I agree. I think he could play there, but not every game. And the thing is, with whatever fullbacks we'd like to have or wingbacks, however we play, ideally you want them to have a bit of pace about them. And that's how it's been for us over the years anyway, when you think about it. Ever since probably, I guess Jack Stacey, James Justin, they've always had a decent bit of pace, the ones we've had. So I don't think that would be ideal. And that is another reason I think we'll stick with this back three, with him being captain. Obviously he's gonna play most of the games because of that, and I just think we'll stick with it. I do, but yeah, I really hope this week, as it is the final week of the transfer window, we do really get to grips and get some players in, because I'm telling you now, if we don't get any wing backs, I just can't see us going up personally. I can't see it. I don't think it'd be anything mad like going down. We've got 3 wins out of 5. We ain't played great in any game for like a full 90 minutes, let's be honest. So that tells me that this league ain't great, So, yeah, I just think we will struggle to go up if we don't get them replacements in. And obviously the main replacement is, for most people, a left side. But for me, it's both. I know a few people in the chat are the same. I know Rich has been the same as well. But yeah, we definitely need to address that. And that is the main priority for me, for sure. But let's go through some comments. Yeah, I mean, we are like that with a lot of players. Like, you think they are, which they probably are, but then you've got to look at the future. Like, if we're to go up, which our aim is to do, are they good for the championship? Are they going to help the team going forward? That's how I see it with a lot of them. And I know I say with Anderson a lot, yeah, he's good for this level, that's why I want to keep him. But his injuries have let him down. Do you know what I mean? Whereas players like Woodrow, they've had more than enough of the chances when he has started, and he hasn't really done much. Yes, he's got a couple late goals, but he's not a player from minute one, for me, that's going to do enough, personally. So that's just how I see it. Yeah, obviously that is the priority. Like I say, yeah, we've got to now. We've got to. Obviously we've still got players knocking around like Nakamba. You have to get him off the books now. However that is, you've got to do it. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting here taking a wage for doing nothing. So I think, personally this week I wouldn't even say it's harsh. We've just got to be having honest conversations with players that we just do not see going forward, and that haven't been with us going forward throughout this, start of this season. So that's how I see it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with the interest part, but even when they look at our strikers, for me, I wouldn't even say he's ahead of Nordas. I'd say Nordas probably third for us. Right now, obviously, it's Yates and Wells. They're the more two. Obviously, if we do get another one in, or some sort of attacker, then they'll probably be, maybe even third or something. But yeah, yeah. But for me, mate, even the times he has started, he hasn't I swear there was a game he start in the Coventry game in the cup. And there was a moment he just does these moments like. There was a shot he did, yes, that was all right. There was a pass he did to Nordas, he should have done better. I just don't. For a player that's called the best finisher at the club, quoted all right by players that ain't actually ours and a manager that ain't actually ours anymore, based on that, you'd think he'd be clinical when he's called upon, but nah, not for me. He's not. That we can get better than that, man. Even though we're in League One, we can get better players than that. Better players coming through for other teams. That's how I see it personally. Yeah, so Jackie's the same there. Yeah, going into the first half, I mean, I'd say Cardiff probably had the big first chance. I'll be honest. I don't know if it was a shot or a cross, but I know there was frustrations there from Cardiff players in the box, so they didn't quite get it. And then, yeah, obviously, Liam Walsh was very, very sloppy in this game. And again, people wouldn't have necessarily dropped him, like we mentioned, because last game he got an assist. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, he was poor, really, really poor in this game. Just so sloppy on the ball. And the first real one was probably obviously that shot from Robinson from the halfway line, nearly caught Keeley off guard. But that's just poor from Walsh. Really, really poor in this game. He gave it away again in the first half from memory. And from that moment in, he should have been taken off at half time. He was all over the place, and it wasn't even like we were bad. It was just stupid errors from him. Stupid errors. And sometimes he just I don't know how to explain it. He's just a bit clueless sometimes. Like, let's be honest. you know, you think of the red cards he got last year. I'm not counting the one against I can't remember, it was Coventry or whatever, because that was obviously overturned. But the other ones, you know, he has these moments, and it's like, what are you doing? But this game, it was with the passing, and it was just, it was just awful, absolutely awful first half performance from him. And like I say, he should have been hooked off at half time. The fact that he stayed on is not good enough, because then it took him, obviously, him to do it again, which led to them scoring. You know, Clark passed it to him like, yeah, you'll be able to get out of this, mate. I've got trust in you. Nope, messed it up again, and they scored. So, yeah, for me, he had an absolute howler. And maybe this is why he hasn't been starting a lot of games at the start of the year, possibly, Dad.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. Like, I get it. You do it once, maybe. Do you know what I mean? But it was just consistent, and then when it led to the goal as well, it was just annoying, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Could have easily have been prevented. You know, that shot from the halfway line. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if it was Kaminsky, that might have went in. Yeah, just pure sloppy. Like he was, yeah. I mean, Bloomfield's come out and said he considered taking him off, but they already had plans for other players. But sometimes, you know, because he's done it before. If someone's not been playing well or struggling, or they look like going to get booked or whatever, he's took them off. So maybe, you know, maybe if you should short it up with Baptiste, you know, it could have been a different story. Could have ended up with a draw. You know, like I said, we had loads and loads of chances where we should have buried. You know, their keeper was brilliant, by the way. Yeah, like, you know, our keeper, Keeley was good against Wigan, but this was the equivalent of that. You know, the Saville shot, brilliant shot. And you know, the McGuinness header as well. You know, he kept them in the game. Let's not forget about that. And you know, there is positives to take. We did create a hell of a lot of chances, but we should have definitely buried it. And Wells should have definitely scored at least twice. Nordas's hold-up play was excellent. You know, and he's strong. He's beefing players now. Do you know what I mean? He's getting physical. I think he just needs a goal. But his link-up play is excellent. You know, he's if we get certain players up to speed and then linking up with him and getting used to him more, that's going to benefit us. You know, at times we did look good. Like, you know, I've had a lot of people saying at Cardiff, yeah, they're so good, and they, you know, but for me, they might make the playoffs. Yeah, their squad's too inexperienced for me. And during the long campaign that it is, which people seem to be forgetting, and I get the frustrations to a certain extent, but we've still fully not clicked. We're still up there, really. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, look at other teams in that division that are supposed to be up there. Plymouth, Bolton, who else? Stockport. You know, I know Huddersfield are up there, but Cardiff's, you know, fixtures have been a bit kinder to them. You know, we lost to Bradford narrowly. We played terrible in that game, and they're up there. You know, we in periods in this game we dominated attacking. We put loads and loads of pressure on them. And if that's the best the division's got, then I'm not bothered. Like, once we do click, and you know, sign the players we need, and if not, don't forget we still got January as well. If we can still be around them spots, the playoffs just outside, going, do you know what I mean? Then I'm not that bothered, because there's still a lot of talent in that team. So yeah, the first, you know, it weren't too bad, but they, you know, they passed. We allowed them to control the possession. That was another thing. You know, we were just working as a unit. And let's be honest, they had a lot of possession, but they didn't really threaten as much as we did. And obviously, in the second half, Naismith was a bit like, they should have scored there, but he got a bit cheeky. Well, fair play to Keeley for coming all the way out. But yeah, that probably should have been 2-0. But yeah, the ball, yeah, it's just 5 or 6 times. That's just. And obviously, as soon as he done that, then we took him off. You know what I mean? But it was kind of little to it, and there wasn't that much that intensity which we were used to seeing. Which we've done in the Premier League, we've done in the Champions at home. Like just banging on the pressure. It just wasn't that there. So there is that little lack of confidence that you can see still, but it wasn't terrible. We haven't. Well, I don't think we'll get battered by anyone this season, and we haven't been so far. But it's just, I get it. Like I said, I get the frustration, but Cardiff, they're meant to be up there. If we lost to like Peterborough, a couple of goals to nil at home and things like that, then definitely. Or if we hadn't won any games, or we was lingering in the bottom half of the table or whatever, then yeah. But we can all see that if the squad's in steps, the squad is good enough. The players have got enough technical ability and quality to do it. Do you know what I mean? But it's just something. It's a confidence thing. We've made a lot of changes. Cardiff didn't really sign any players, so they're already kind of set in their ways, etc. Do you know what I mean? So there's that as well. And then we've got the problem of getting a couple of players out before we can sign other players. But I'm not too well, and everyone knows. People were saying before, it's not as easy a league to get out of. But now we're like, lost a couple of games. Everyone's losing their shit. But you said before that it's not an easy league to get out of. And we're still, up there really. Let's be honest. Do you know what I mean? 2 wins, you're top of the league. So yeah, I went too fast.
Yeah. No, it's just for me. I look at it and just felt like, yes, I know Bram was getting into the swing of it, but I just felt the wing-back situation, we could have, just started him personally, and then put the goal on the right. Given Alcadoa's played the last 2 games before that, particularly one of the better players against Bradford. In fact, he was the best player for me. He was good in the last game. I just felt it was a bit harsh to take him out, really. And yeah, it's just a situation where there's a lot of interesting things. I mean, let's go through some comments. We'll go through some comments. Big up to Hammers Football TV. Good to see you in here, mate. Good evening, gents. Hope you're both well. Hope your season goes well. Never know. Maybe next season at this rate. Well, we both feel like that ours is not as bad. We've still got 3 wins out of 5. But yeah, for you guys, I don't know what is going on. Seriously, I do not have a clue what is going on for you guys. Yes, it's not looking great, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, you do play tomorrow, so hopefully, for your sake, you can win that game, get a bit of confidence, hopefully. And to be fair, that could be, because that'll be more of a second string team. A lot of them players can prove that they should be starting, to be fair. So, yeah, good to see you in here, mate. Hope you're well. G1 says, like to keep Fanny as he's versatile as defensive or offensive. Yeah, the weird thing is, ever since he's come in, we've always played him attacking, but he is a CDM. So this is why I still feel, obviously it's not a priority as much as the other positions, but this is why I still feel we might need another defensive player, because the only one we've technically got, because I don't, like I say, I don't count him because he don't play there. The only one I technically count is Saville. And we're at another situation then. If he gets injured, you've got players who are not ideal to play there, unless you start playing Lamine there. If we do keep him to play there. And if he definitely goes, obviously he went on the bench, so it's speculation. But if he does go, then you definitely need to, get an option there for sure. Because I'm not even another player we got, but I'm not even counting him, is Nakamba. So for me, if he goes, then you need to get another option, a backup, I'd say, not necessarily a starter for that position. Yeah, I don't think it's Saville though. I think it's Walsh. I really do, because the thing is for me, and I've said it numerous times, if you take Saville off the pitch out of a midfield 3, they're all attacking midfielders, whoever else you put in, unless, like I say, you put Lamine deeper, but we haven't done that. So for me, yeah, Walsh. It's Walsh that's the problem in that. I'm not gonna lie. Personally. Um. So yeah. Yeah, I did read this stat the other day. I'm not sure if you heard it. But Yates is opening 8 games for Blackpool when he got 20 goals in League One. They're opening 8 games. He didn't score. And bear in mind, he was fit then. He would have been fit from the start of the season. So that gives me a little bit of confidence that as the games go on, he will do better. It might be a similar story like Bloomfield when he started off, where we just couldn't get a win. But for him, it's just he couldn't get a goal. And that is another reason I put him on the bench the other day because from minute one, I just don't think it's working due to his fitness. I think he'll do well for us as the season goes on. I was buzzing to sign him, but yeah. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And we just haven't seen him there, which is a bit weird. But yeah, we'll move on to player ratings. Do get involved in the chat. Moving on to Keeley, obviously the first one. Obviously did get a yellow card. That was a bit worrying. He does have them moments where he comes out for me a bit too far sometimes. And again, it's good to see he's commanding, but sometimes I think he overdoes it. I've said that for the last couple of weeks. And it might cost us at one point. I'm not going to lie. And I know a few other fans have said that. That is my only worry with him. But when it comes to everything else, yeah, he's decent. The goal, we couldn't have done anything. And other than that one little bit, I thought he was okay, to be fair. So I'll give him a 6.5.
I'd just give him a 6. Um, the goal, don't know. He's meant to be proper quality, so I do feel like maybe Kaminsky might have got a hand on that, but that's my opinion. The yellow card there, he's still got to stop coming out. He was quite lucky.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get some.
Yeah, in this league, you would have thought so normally, but he was trying to go for the ball, so it was kind of 50-50, and they allowed that a little bit. But another day, he could have got sent off. But yeah, I'll just give him a 6.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just their moments for me. I do worry with him sometimes. I mean, what was the game we watched? That wasn't it the Bradford one where he proper come out and there was no communication with the defender and he could have hurt himself. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just times like that. But yeah, overall, like as a keeper, I think he's quality, and he is still young. He's still got a lot to learn. But I feel someone's got to be telling him there not to come out as much. And I think some people like it because Kaminsky didn't do it as much, and the one time he did, or the rare time he did, he got sent off. But I just think he overdoes it sometimes. Obviously, if a defender's nowhere near getting it, like Naismith or like someone who's a little bit slower for our centre backs, then yeah, fair enough. But sometimes there's defenders there as well. There's just, me personally, I just don't think there's any need sometimes to come out as much as he does. But Jackie's gone with a 6.5 as well as me. Moved on to Naismith. Could have been 2-0 at the end. Should have really been 2-0. Obviously, he did a mistake. He hasn't had the best of games, really, at the start of the year, especially for someone who's a captain. So, yeah, I'm going to give him a... Do you know what? I'm going to give him a 5.5.
I'll give him a 6. That was yeah. Not but I think it's an effect of the whole team. But then this is where you've got to be for him. I would have been going after Walsh doing it twice. I'd be like, "Fucking, what are you doing? Sort yourself out." You know what I mean? Mm. As a captain, I haven't really seen his voice that much. When defensively, sometimes, yeah, but throughout the whole team, I think we need more of that. So yeah, I'm just going to give him a 6.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we're trying to be too fancy at times and too clever. It's just stupid. It's not working. Yeah, this is League One. Teams are physical. Do you know what I mean? Don't be doing that. Sometimes it'll work, but like you said, you see Walsh was doing it and it didn't work in about 3-4 times, maybe more, 5, and yeah, that weren't good. Keeley 7, Naismith 6, says Jackie. Moving on to McGuinness. McGuinness is a difficult one because, I thought the Wigan game, he looked slightly like his old self. But this game is a bit 50-50 for me. There was some moments, some good moments, some iffy moments still. And yeah, maybe if Anderson was available, Anderson probably comes back in just because McGuinness is still getting into the swing of things. But yeah, McGuinness, I'll just give him an average 6.
I'll give him a 6 as well. He did put a good block in as well at one point. He did make a run forward, obviously against his former team. And then they went on the attack. He did have that good header as well. Actually, I'll give him a 6.5.
Yeah, fair enough. I do think he was the better defender out of the three. Moving on to Makoso, I'll get into your ratings after as well. I mean, it weren't the best of games for him, but then again, he ain't played for 3 games, so I sort of let him off the hook a little bit. And there would have been a lot of pressure going into him on the game, let's be honest, because the stupid punch he did. And everyone had been looking at him as if to say, like, what are you doing, mate? Like, he sort of let us down. But yeah, I'll just give him a 6.
Yeah, same. Like I think he wasn't. You can see he hasn't played for 3 games. I think that was it. He was getting a run around by Willock and that. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'll just give him a 6. But we know he's better, so it's not. That's what happens if you don't play 3 consistently sometimes as well. But he'll still be in the shoe-in for the next game.
Yeah, and again, the reason I think he will is because he brings that pace element. You know, he's the pacey one out of the most. Well, even if say Anderson was back, he's still, you know what I mean. So that's why I see it. Other comments: Naismith 5.5, McGuinness 6.5, Christ 6, Josh 6, Naismith 6, Christ 6, 6.5. Moving on we'll go over to Longwick. Again, it's a bit of a difficult one with him because it's not really his natural position. I just don't really think it's going to work there as we go on in the season. So I'm just going to give him a 6.
Yeah,
not really his fault.
Yeah, like I say, you know, I think he could play anywhere back across the back 3 if we really wanted him to. But you know, he's right-footed, so that's why he's been shooting there. But you know, we've played him at you know, in Naismith position as well in the friends and stuff like that. But yeah, it's hit and miss with him in that position. I think he was quite anonymous, really, because if you are a fullback, you still want to offer that stuff going forward, and I don't think he did. So yeah, 6.
Yeah, 6. Jackie's gone with as well. Moving on to Ali. Again, it's a similar situation, isn't it? Not really where you want to see him play. I thought there was some okay moments. You know, he's running forward, and you know, it was good to see that. Despite him playing as a wing back, we do want to see him running at players, causing havoc in that sense. So yeah, I'll give him 6.5, slightly higher.
Yeah, you know, and you know, when he was defensive, he's getting into positions. You know, he wasn't tackling as much as he was in the previous game, but he was still trying to, you know, shepherd them. You know, his position was good, and like I say, when he was getting forward, you know, he's decent, and it's not his fault that he's playing in that position at the moment. He was, so yeah, 6.5.
6. Jackie's on with 6.5. Moving on we'll go over to Walsh. Awful performance. Should have come off at half time for me. Latest 55th minute. You know, it's a joke. Like, considering he'd done all them mistakes before, you know, could you imagine, right, if we conceded that goal from Robinson? That'd been embarrassing. I'm sorry, that would have been embarrassing. You know, from that moment in, you should be, you know, getting at half time, taking him off for me. But yeah, awful performance. Probably up there with his worst performances, you know, with the red cards for me. So for me, I'm going with 5.
Yeah, same 5. Right, he just kept doing it, and I get it. But if you're playing, you know, in League 2 and that, you might. But Cardiff are hungry. They've got young, bright players. Do you know what I mean? If you do it a couple of times and it don't work, and then you do it in a defensive position, like outside the penalty area and that, it's fucking annoying. I doubt he'll start the next game. Obviously, he's got talent, but you know, like he's 28, and sometimes you just think, why hasn't he kicked on? Why hasn't he kicked on? Like, you know, another Rob Edwards signing. So he's again got to go back to the drawing board and prove people wrong. But he shouldn't have to keep doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, 5 unfortunately.
And I mean, you look at his contributions for us. Let's be real. 1 assist last year. 1 assist so far this year. I know in the previous weeks I said I want him to score and stuff because I do for the confidence. But when he's playing out blunders like this, I can't really defend him because it's just stupid. It's just stupidity. There's no need to be giving the ball away like that. Stop it. If it's not working, stop flipping trying it. Do you know what I mean? It's just stupid. It's absolutely stupid. And, I remember when we signed him, there was, a lot of neutral fans saying to me, weren't really great us, weren't really great there. And I mean, when he does these blunders, you can sort of see why they didn't really rate him, to be honest. And, we've said it a few times throughout the games this season. We'd like to see Baptiste start. I mean, I stick by it. I do think Baptiste is a Premier League player. It's just his injuries which have let him down. And you see particularly I think it's a Peterborough game, how good he was in that type of game, Baptiste and things like that. And again, it asks the question, why has Walsh not been starting as much? There's something they're seeing in training that he's now bringing into some of these games. Like, it's very, very disappointing from him. And he let the team down, in my opinion. He was the one. Yes, we should have scored, but he was the one the most. You think about it. If he don't do that mistake, we probably draw the game. Yes, we should have won it on the chances, but a point against the team who are going to be up there, you take that instead of none, and it all led to him for the stupid mistake yet again. But yeah, Walsh 5. B1's gone with a 4. Fair enough. And then moving on to Saville, got another yellow card. But again, I like to see him in this team. I do think he is the one that's, on the better side when you compare him and Walsh for the midfield not working. Whether them two in particular, I think you've got to play him in majority of games. One, because I still think he's a championship player. And second of all, like I say, if you don't have him in the team, they're all attacking midfielders. We'll just get opened up, mate. You see it in this game, some of the tackles he was doing, them slide tackles again. Some people don't like the way, gets, aggressive with the referees. I like that, personally. I like that because we ain't had that for the last 2 years. Really, we've just had Morris on the floor moaning, flipping half the time. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I like to see that. And, like I say, if you don't have him in the team, I think we get opened up like a tin of beans, personally. So, yeah, for me, I'm going to give him... you know what? He's one of the better players for me. I'll give him 7.
He's my man in the match. 7, was effective, stuck to his role. Obviously got a yellow card, but you're gonna pick that up. But he's going for it, do you know what I mean? And that shot as well was excellent. Like, on another day, that would have been
our best chance, by the way, your CDM.
So yeah, he's my man of the match. I know you don't like to give man of matches when we lose, but I'm giving it. So you need to write that down. 7.
I already have
7.
Well, he's already on 4 votes. Like altogether, so that tells you something. But yeah, that shot was really unlucky. When I was watching it live, I actually thought it just went wide and the keeper didn't save it. But yeah, the keeper, like you said earlier, had a blinder. But yeah, it's still disappointing that we couldn't finish. And obviously, we get on to players. When it comes to more attacking in the second, Saville 7. Saville 6. Yeah, shot was really good. So yeah. And then moving on to the next player, we will go over to Jordan Clark. We'll go to Clark. It weren't too bad, but again, I have seen better Clark performances. But he wasn't, he wasn't terrible. I mean, obviously, he had a decent pre-season. He did obviously score the second goal against Peterborough, but some of these league games, I know I can see better from him. It's not like he's been awful, but I just know he can do better. So for me, with Clark, I'll just give him a 6.5.
Yeah, I'll give him 6.5. I don't think he was too bad. I thought he worked quite hard, but I think with Clark, sometimes, you know, what I've seen over the years is if the team's playing well, then he'll play better. But he wasn't too bad. He was linking up well. I think he was playing in kind of like the number 10 position as well. I think he was all right. So I'll give him a 6.5.
Yeah. Like I say, he's had the good moments, but I know he can do better. So it's not like he's been poor. I just know that he can be better. Like I say, Jordan 7, 6.5, and a 6. Okay, all different ratings. Interesting. And then moving on to Wells, for me, he should have scored, especially in particular that first shot. He should have at least put that on target for me. You know, I was saying that at the time as well. And he did struggle. Obviously, it's his, first game back for 2 games. He did struggle, but he's a player, for me, I'd still have to be putting in the team because, he brings that experience. And for now, Norda still hasn't got a goal, obviously competitively for us. And Yates is still getting into the swing of things. So, we're playing 2 up front. He, out of them 3, he's the shoe-in for me, despite him not scoring in this game. So, yeah, for me, again, obviously you've seen better from him and he should have scored. So I'm going to give him a 6.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6. Quite in 10 positions, but yeah, you'd expect more. Pay over his experience and quality. And no doubt he will. He'll score a few goals for us. I can definitely see that. He's getting in them positions and stuff. But yeah, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt slightly, obviously, because he's probably, I reckon he's potentially still carrying something. But yeah, he should have done better. Not the worst performance. Do you know what I mean? But we've seen he's affected the game a lot more than that, and you expect him when he's getting he's in the penalty. Definitely, and he didn't. So yeah, 6.
Yeah, I mean, for you, is he a shoe-in for the Burton game still?
Yeah.
I mean, let me know if you agree in the chat as well. 6.5, 6, and a 6.5. Moving on to the last player that obviously started, which was Nordos, as we've been told. He had 2 good chances. The second one in the second up, like big chances, the one where he it was across the ground. If he put a bit more power on that, I think he would have scored. It's good to see him getting in these positions, the link-up play and things. But yeah, I just don't know when that goal's going to come. And that is the frustrating thing because you can tell he's a confidence player. And, you sort of saw the glimpses in pre-season. He had that, let's be honest, not so great game against Boreham Wood. And then he got a couple of goals after that. And you could see the confidence it gave him. I mean, that goal he scored at Southend, what a strike that was. But I think it's a similar situation now in the league where he needs to get that goal for the confidence. And everything else he's doing is right. It's just he's lacking that goal, isn't he, Doug?
Yeah, exactly. Like I think I like him. Bloomfield's obviously come out. So a lot of fans are skeptical of him. But Bloomfield's come out and said, yeah, he needs to, get used to the English football, the physicality. I think he already is doing that. And it's hold up play and like equivalent to Morris's potentially. Some people might say, no, I don't think so, but I think so. He releases the ball quicker. He won a lot of duels and things like that. Like I say, just needs that goal. And I think he's obviously ahead of other players that we've loaned out as well. So I'm quite happy, and I'd rather have him than Woodrow in the squad as well. And I just want him to keep getting his chances. If you play him in the what's it called, the Virtue Trophy, maybe get a couple of goals in that, and then do you know what I mean? Bring him on the bench or whatever. But we still obviously need to sign someone. But at the moment, like he's working hard. I know people saying, yeah, but that is fundamental because if you're not doing anything, you're not going to get the rewards from it. But if you're working hard and continually laying it off, working hard, getting in the box, having the shots on that, eventually it will pay off. And we know that, he for me, he's got that. I remember when I think he made his debut in the Championship and he got an assist in the first game. you know, and you could see.
I know what game you're on about. Plymouth game. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if it's his debut. I can't actually remember. But he done really well. Yeah, that was where you saw the early signs of his link-up play for me when he set up Brown. Because Brown, yeah. That was a game Brown come on literally first touch, I think, and scored, yeah.
So I like that about him. I think that's being underestimated about his game because I haven't seen that. Yes, Morris, but it was always 2-man on him, and you know he'd eventually give it away. And that where Nordas is taller, he's got a bit more pace, he can turn and things like that. So I haven't seen that for a while in a Luton team. So you know people can hate on him or like, but I think he's definitely going to turn good for us at some point. And I think he'd work really well with like Elijah up front. Personally, I think. Do you know what I mean? Even Brown as well. The players that we're not talking about because they're injured, but they will be playing some part in this season because no one's going to sign them, and you know they're quality players, especially for this level. So yeah, no, I thought he was all right. 6.5.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say, obviously, you say your similarities with him with Morris. A lot of people say like Elijah, and I remember when we were linked with him, looking at highlights, and no, obviously you can't tell everything from highlights, but you know, I'm not going to sit there and watch with all due respect, that league because I've got no affiliation and reason to. When I did watch the highlights, I think I might have said to you, Dad, he's quite similar to Elijah, I feel.
That's what I said to you today, didn't I? On a personal level. Do you remember? I said he reminded me of him.
Yeah, just the way he holds onto the ball and things. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he's obviously quite tall as well, like Elijah. And yeah, I do agree with you, mate. I think he's quite similar. Like to see more confidence in it from him. Yeah, of course, because that's the thing, isn't it? If he has the confidence, you know, he'll score for us, and then he'll be like, do you know what I mean? He'll be maybe like an unsung hero. I still think, unless he scores, you know, he could be above. You know, just for now, like if he scored, he could be above like Wells or something. But I think right now it's Wells. I'd probably still say Yates and then Nordos, sorry. So yeah, that's how I see it.
And what you got to remember is, you know, he had his mate with him, didn't he? They signed it like Asgard.
Yeah.
You know, in his left, and that would have been his mate. You know, same countries. You know, played together in that under-21s team, I believe. You know, and to lose that, you know, you're in fucking Luton in England, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? You're new to the team. You just need that faith in you and that confidence. And I've seen it in bits. And like I said before, I'd rather have him than Woodrow in the team.
Yeah, I agree. I've said my thoughts on Woodrow. Anytime he's had the opportunity to start, he's not been good enough for me. So yeah, that's just how I see it. But yeah, other comments. I think Brown is underrated. Do you know what? I'd have to agree, mate. And I think he's another one of these players. He gets a lot of criticism because of his injuries. You know, similar to Anderson. Like I don't really see people criticise the player himself. You know, and he had that good spell in the Premier League. You know, where he obviously played as a wing back, and we were like, "What are we doing away at Brentford?" And then he he got moved up front and he scored. And then I think he scored the game after that against Palace, the first home win, if I remember rightly. And then there was moments, but yeah, I think there's a player like for this level again. I think there's a player there. I mean, I remember when Stoke sold him to us, they were gutted. You know, they were absolutely gutted. Shout out to Sam, obviously a Stoke fan. You know, he was gutted. He was telling me he's absolutely gutted. So I do think there's a player there. And, you know, obviously he's not out as long as Elijah. So he'll come in earlier and he could get, you know, opportunities. You know, that is the thing. We have got a lot of strikers. So, you know, you've got to think when they're fit. So I do think we still need an attacker. You know, whether that's someone who can play out wide or you know, I know we don't really play out wide, but you know, hopefully we can get another wing back, particularly a left one. You know, and then obviously start doing that, playing Ali higher. We have actually got loads of wingers when you think about it. So hopefully, and then you know, he might get a chance as he goes on. But obviously, when he first comes back, because he hasn't been in a team for so long, and he's not right now, you know, even with Yates and that, he's not a proper starter. You know, a player that we've desperately missed. He ain't going to start straight away, but it'll be good to see him back. I don't mind Brown, dude. I don't mind him. Gets in boxing is a finisher. Yeah, I mean, you look at his goals at Luton. They've been like that, really. The Brentford one, I believe, was outside the box, but the others, from memory, have all been inside the box getting in there. So I'd have to agree, mate. But yeah, it's obviously that was speaking on Nordos there. And then the substitutions in this game, we saw Yates obviously come on. I don't think he was too bad, to be fair. He had a shot that was unlucky. You know, obviously I said put him on the bench, bring him on. And yeah, I did say around about half an hour left and there was 58 minutes. So yeah, good timing in that sense for a substitution. But yeah, he weren't too bad. He showed decent signs. Yeah, it's a difficult one. Maybe I probably still would have him on a bench for Burton just to get into the swing of things again. Also, given by that record I said, where he was quite a slow starter when he was actually fit on top of that last time round in this league. So, yeah, for me, I thought there was decent signs. I'll give him a 6.5.
Yeah, I'll give him 6.5. You know, he looked lively. He was trying. He had a couple of runs in you know, you can see he's got ability, especially at this level. But once he gets up to speed and that, you know, if we can get balls into the box to him and that, he'll finish them. So, yeah, I'll give him 6.5.
Yeah. Jackie's gone with the same. Moving on to Kadoa, I thought he was good. For me, he should have started in this game. Again, similar to Yates, 6.5.
Yeah, he's not afraid to run at people. You know, he could be in good competition for that position with Jones when he comes back. So I think they're quite similar, but I think Kadu is, I don't know, he just seems he's more. I'd say he's more physical. But yeah, he was trying, and he's still a youngster. So yeah, I'll give him 6.5.
I mean, I know it weren't this game, but that tackle he done against Wigan. Yeah, what a tackle. That sliding tackle where they got the corner from it. You know, I know obviously he can play there, you know, it says on transfer market that he can play there. Obviously, he has been playing there for us. But I have to agree. I think he is slightly more physical than Jones. Because a lot of times when Jones played as a wing back last year, you get like stupid yellow cards, you know, like pull a player down. Do you know what I mean? And it, like things like that. So for me, I'd have to agree for now. But again, I don't feel it'll work throughout the whole season or majority of the season. I feel we still need to get someone else or, you know, another option there personally. But I don't mind it for now because he's doing well. So yeah, that's what we'll say. 6.5 as well, says Jackie. Moving on we'll go over to Nelson. I wouldn't say as impactful as the other guys. You know, I have seen a few people saying maybe he should start against Burton, but me personally, I just don't think he's done enough to warrant the start. Personally, I think you got to bring him on for now. But he did play as a wing back, which I don't really like to see. So yeah, for me, similar to what I've gave like Longwick and that, I'm gonna have to give him a 6 for similar reasons.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6, but I'm on a different level. I think, you know, that he's been asked to, because you see flashes of good stuff from him. I personally think maybe he does need to start a game, or definitely start in the Virtue Trophy, have a ball in game, and then, you know, just start him, because I think him just coming on in bits and bobs and asking to play here, there, and everywhere is not really benefiting him. Do you know what I mean? Because he has got a lot of talent, the guy, and we've seen it. But you know, 20 minutes here when we're losing and things like that. I don't think that's benefiting him. But obviously he's going to be in and around the squad. But yeah, I'll just give him a 6 on this occasion. But there was a moment where he's battling and he should have had the free kick and they gave it to them. So, you know what I mean? that was frustrating. But yeah, I'll give him 6.
Yeah, we know for sure he's going to feature more. He's not going to be one of our youth players that gets loaned out. Bloomfield's obviously said he wants him to make an impact. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I do feel if you play him sort of like in a three-man midfield where he's the highest one, I know we don't necessarily play, but you can tell when we play who's higher out of that midfield three. I think if you play him there, he could work there, to be fair. And even out, again, I know we don't play out wide, but there was times last year where he'd come on, where I'd be at the games in the new stand, and obviously it'd be towards the left. And like he was really good at cutting in and things like that. There was a stage where he started taking loads of corners for us as well. So he can bring that element as well. I think there's a good player there. There definitely is. But I just feel, me personally, I just don't feel he's warranted enough to start in League One yet. I think bringing him on definitely. But yeah, the Virtue Trophy. I mean, obviously we've got that next Tuesday. It's going to be interesting to see what type of team we do play in that. I'm actually quite interested in that, and that is on Sky Sports Plus. So I will we'll do a watch on to that, and obviously I'll be able to react to it and stuff. But yeah, that'll be interesting. And then moving on to the last two. Well, we'll start off with Baptiste first. Should have come on way earlier for me for Walsh at half time, like I said. I'm just going to give him a 6.5. Should start the next game, in my opinion.
Yeah, it will come on for. Maybe he should come on for Walsh, but he come on for Saville in the end. Saville was on a yellow card. You know what I mean? But again, yeah, he should have. I felt Walsh maybe because he got an assist in the last game, but now for me, you need to be starting Baptiste, especially as we're away in the next game as well. So yeah, I'll give him a 6.5, and then Bramall come on in the last minute. 6.
Yeah, 6 as well, obviously, with that. But yeah, like I say, I was going to say Baptiste as well. That Peterborough game away, he played in that, and he was obviously massive for switching the passes, and I think he could be similar in the game against Burton. So I'd have to agree with starting him in that game for sure. Nelson 5.5 says Jackie. Yeah, fair enough. But like I say, it was a difficult one for him because he was a wing back. Yes, we've seen him play there for us before. Obviously, the standout one being that QPR game in the League Cup, where he scored that that wonder goal. But it's not ideal. The guy's actually a striker. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I don't mind seeing him like a cam. He's behind the strikers. Do you know what I mean? Like that could work. But yeah, I just think as a wing back, it's not going to when we bring him on there. But yeah, they are the ratings. Obviously, you get the man of the match stud with Saville, which is now put him up to 4 votes already throughout the season. I didn't quite do one. Again, if I was, I'd probably have to give it to Saville. I mean, he had our best chance, and there was good moments from him. So yeah, I'd probably give the same if I was to give one, but I haven't. But last thing I do want to talk about before we do end it today is a transfer rumour that come out last night. Now, it might not happen, guys, but at the end of the day, I'm glad to see us actually linked with someone because it's been a bit of a while, as we all know, since we were actually linked with someone. And that is Armando Dobra, who plays for Chesterfield. And yeah, I mean, looking at him, he's a pretty decent player. He's a left winger. He can play as a right winger as well, and like a cam. And did score obviously 10 goals last season for Chesterfield, and he did get 2 assists as well. And he's a player I look at, and I think it'd be a good option to bring in. I feel there's obviously a player there, 24, still fairly young. Um, Albanian, and he looks like a decent player. He could have probably got more goals last year, judging on what I've seen of him. But did score a very nice goal against Walsall in the playoffs. Shame it didn't actually matter in the end. But yeah, there is a good player there. There is a lot of teams looking at him, so it's probably unlikely, I'll be honest, with the teams that are looking at him, which I will get up now. So the likes of a lot of Championship teams, Derby, Portsmouth, Oxford, and then the other teams are all League One. So Barnsley, Luton, Bolton, Blackpool, and Reading. But yeah, I mean, there does look like some promising signs there. The club know we need another attacker. Obviously, you have seen the Tavide saga. Obviously, then we went in for the player that I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name. The one at Gillingham. You know, they obviously rejected another bid, so we know we need another attacker. And yeah, I wouldn't mind him because he can play a variety of positions, very versatile in that sense. And yeah, he could be a decent option for us. But again, it means someone has to go out, doesn't it? Though?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be tough. He's playing for Ipswich, so probably Kieran McKenna. I think he was on loan or he had a spell with Colchester, probably when Bloomfield was there. So that's where that link is. He scored against us when we beat them in League Cup a couple of years ago or a year ago, whatever it was, 3-1. He scored their goal. I think it was a banger as well. It was a decent goal. He's obviously got ability and he'll be strong and physical. And he could probably definitely make the step up. It all depends whether he thinks he can make the double step up to the Championship because he was playing in the conference before as well. And it's guaranteed starting positions and that. Obviously, it's still competition with us. We could probably match anyone's wages out of any of them clubs that are interested in him, definitely. But we'll see what happens. I'm hoping that I think possibly Bloomfield knows him as a player, might help. And he doesn't get too big for his boots and just go straight into the Championship. Then yeah, it could be definitely a good signing.
Yeah. Like I say, I think there's a player there. See, still have Pebble. You could maybe say Agent Pebble. So he did play alongside him, but yeah, like I say, he did score a really good goal against Walsall in the playoffs, the second leg, but obviously it didn't matter, unfortunately, for them. But yeah, I mean, they're doing really well this year so far. You know, they're second in the league. So yeah, but yeah, I like you say, I think we can obviously match the wages. But yeah, my worry is if them teams are proper serious, like the Championship ones, I do think he'll go down. I think out of the League One teams, we can definitely win that battle. But yeah, it's just more so the Championship ones I'm a bit worried about in that sense. But it's good to see that we are linked with someone after so long. But obviously, it is officially the final week of the transfer window. So now it's time to get to grips. I mean, like a lot of people, I don't like the way it's ending at this point. It should be ending before the season, in my opinion. But now it's our opportunity. Now it's our opportunity to get people in. And, you know, obviously, we do play on Saturday. Obviously, there's no midweek game. So that is the last do you need to get some outgoings this week and things like that to get these players in. But hopefully we start moving now because it is officially Monday, so start of the week. So hopefully we see some things go on as the week goes on, and hopefully I can actually do some T-Boy discusses again because I ain't done none of them for a couple of weeks. And yeah, so hopefully I'll be back doing some of them. But yeah, I mean, if I had to ask you right now, Dad, before we end it, how many more players do you reckon we'll get in? And how many more players do you reckon we'll get out?
I said it could be a few going. Probably 3, and then we'll probably get 2 in. That's what I reckon.
Okay. For me,
Yeah,
I'm going to say. Go on.
We've got a short time period, so it's going to have to be. Do you know what I mean? If he goes, you'll come. Do you know what I mean? It's close. It's one of them. But yeah, I reckon 3 will go and 2 will come in.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same. I think Nakamba's the most difficult one to get rid of for me. But I just think we're going to have to just, it might come to the last day or whatever. We might have to just sort of, I don't know, do something to get rid of him. And then obviously, me personally, I would be getting rid of Holmes personally. I think with Mengi coming back earlier than expected, maybe he could be on the way out. It sounds like Chong's going to stay. I mean, I had a little bit of a rant the other day on that. I mean, I'm not too keen on that. I just don't think, like I say, he's going to bring anything to this league. Again, people say he's good for it, but I just think his physicality is what lets him down. And the more further down you go, the more physical it is. But it's going to be interesting because it sounds like he's going to be in contention for Burton game. So obviously on the bench in the squad. So we'll see. If he proves me wrong, because it sounds like he's going to stay, happy days. But if he doesn't, then I can't lie. I'll be sitting here saying I said it. But majority of you agree with me anyway. And then obviously Walters sounds like he's going to be coming back as well for this Burton game. Again, do you put him in because he is, actually a right back, or do you put him on the back? I don't know. It's all interesting. We'll get into it on Friday and things like that. So, yeah, any final things, Dad, in general you want to say?
No, let's just see what happens with this final thing. We have still got a strong squad. We have still looked, even though we haven't really kicked on, we look better in pre-season and things like that. But at times we've looked good, but it's just in patches and this, that, and the other. But once this is a long old season, especially in League One, so to still be in and around. If you were bottom of the league, you had no points and or this. Even then, you'd say, well, I expect better. We should get better. So I'm not too bothered. Like it's a marathon, not a sprint. Definitely in this league as well. So yeah, we should be fine. But let's see what happens. Let's not be over reactionary like I see a lot on social media.
Yeah, like I've said, I don't think it's going to be horrific in the sense of, it's going to be another relegation. Because like I say, we've got 3 wins out of 5, and this, we ain't even played good. Like, let's be honest, for a full game or majority of the game, and we got 3 wins. So that tells me that the division's not really great. Obviously, there's some good teams like Huddersfield and, obviously Cardiff to grind out that result and stuff in the end. But, I do think we will still be up and around it, whether that's playoffs or maybe higher. But I just think this week is massive. We have to be getting the players in that we need to get in and the players out that we need to get out, because, I feel if we don't, I just don't think we got it, personally. I just think it might be a one of them where it might be in here again next year. But hopefully I'm proven wrong. Big up to Billy. He says, all right, lads, good to see you in here, mate. Join the Discord. Yeah, I just see someone joined it, and obviously it's not your name, so I was thinking, who the hell is that? But nah, big up to everyone that does join that. Do join it if you haven't already. To get updates on the channel, content-wise, and all the Luton scores. The Luton scores that we're doing, by the way, people, no one got it right. Again, that's the second week that's happened so far this season. But yeah, a few people said draw, like yourself, Dad, Darth Vader. Realistically, it probably should have at least been that. Like I say, if Walsh didn't do that error and we wanted to score, we probably would have. But yeah, we move on to the obviously the Burton game. Like I say, I'll be back on Friday for stuff like that. But yeah, as for content, nothing other than shorts and things like that. Unless any news comes out, then I'll be obviously talking on that, which hopefully there is, because I hope there really is, because it's going to be a long season in my opinion, if not. But yeah, fair enough, man. Fair enough. Yeah, no, I just saw it and I was a bit confused. But yeah, big up to yourself, mate. Big up to everyone that's watched. Don't forget to smash a like. Do subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. Big up to everyone that watched the match reaction the other day. Nearly at 2,000 views. So yeah, big up. The last 2 match reactions, when we lose, ironically, have done really well. But yeah, obviously I'll be doing one on Saturday to the Burton game. And yeah, I think we'll be watching that again by the looks of it, Dad, as it stands, like we did with the Bradford game. And then obviously we've got the Barnet game, which is actually on Sky Sports Plus. So I'll be able to still watch on for that kind of match reaction, watch on TikTok. So yeah, big up to everyone. Like I say, smash a like, subscribe, follow me across all my socials. Do subscribe to the extra channel as well if you haven't already. And yeah, until next time, I will see you guys, or we will see you guys in a bit. Take care and peace.